Annual inflation slows to a 4-year low. Nothing to stop the next interest rate cut. Nearly 1 year ago, a disruptive party was born. Umkhonto weSizwe is preparing for its first birthday bash in December, queuing to update their electricity meters before Monday's deadline. Have you done yours? And it's 40 years of the globally beloved Japanese manga, anime and video game franchise of Dragon Balls. Hello, I'm Jane Dutton.
This is Eyewitness News.
The site is being cleared now to get the unknown number of Zama Zamas out of the Stilfontein shaft. They've been refusing to leave since police moved into the site in the Northwest Province.
The operation to retrieve hundreds of illegal miners from this abandoned mine here in Stilfontein is a slow cook process. We're 2 days into the official plan, and I wish there really was a lot that I could tell you, but there isn't. We're in the very early stages of this 3-point plan that was given to us by the local government here in the Northwest. That 3-point step being, firstly, clearing the site of the shaft, second, sending comms into the shaft so that the illegal miners who are within the vicinity of the entry are able to be cleared out for safety purposes. A machinery will then be sent down, which includes, as far as we understand, a camera to assess the exact site or what it looks like and how it looks down in the shaft, as well as perhaps even ascertaining the exact number of the illegal miners so that the law enforcement and the rest of the task team are able to capacitate themselves in terms of the response when the official operation begins. But if you look just behind me, you'll see there are a number of vehicles in the back. Earlier, there were also graders which were used to clear the shaft. They've now been moved off the site, and we're left with just parts of that technical team on site, which includes law enforcement to continue to monitor the operation. But really, a bulk of this plan remains on paper, and we're yet to see the rest unfold again, sending down the cameras in the shaft, ascertaining the number of the miners, sending down a cage, which also requires some assembly here on site in the next coming days. And that shaft or that cage, we understand, will then be used to bring the illegal miners back up to the surface. How long this exactly will take is unknown at this stage. We're estimating a couple more days, 5, 6, at least on paper, but that again will of course depend on how much work they're able to do in the early stages in the preparation of this. Police again remain on site throughout the duration, even when the rescue teams and the technical teams and the mining experts do leave the site at the end of the day. Police do remain on guard, just watching the situation here. Nobukhanya Mdambo, Eyewitness News in Stilfontein, Northwest.
Purging the rot, 18 Home Affairs officials have been dismissed for a range of offences, including fraud, corruption and sexual harassment. 4 more officials were issued with final written warnings, 2 of which carry 1 and 3 months salary suspension, respectively. Minister Leon Schreiber says the dismissals send a clear message that the days of fraud and corruption are over.
The dismissals follow a series of convictions and reflects the intensification of cooperation between the Department of Home Affairs, the Special Investigating Unit and the Hawks. Where prosecutable offences have been committed, the dockets will be referred for criminal prosecution. These dismissals send a clear and unambiguous message that the days where acts of fraud and corruption are committed with impunity against Home Affairs are over. Dismissals and prosecutions are set to continue ramping up until we have squeezed crime and corruption out of this system.
Former President Jacob Zuma's baby is nearly a year old. The Umkhonto weSizwe party is preparing for its anniversary in December. This is what's going to happen.
This rally, among other things, will be used to agitate and mobilize the people of KwaZulu-Natal to start a very extensive program of uniting all progressive forces to reject the IFPDA-led government and reinstate the legitimate government led by MK Party as a party that got 45% of electoral support, 29 May 2024. So it's not just a celebration, it's a call to action to the people of KwaZulu-Natal to stand up and defend their votes.
Good news, as we head towards the festive season, the consumer price index has slowed dramatically. The indicator of the rise and decline of prices shows a decline from 3.8% in September to 2.8% in October. Stats SA says this is the lowest since June 2020 during the COVID-19 pandemic. The decline is attributed to fuel and food prices, which remain lower than a year ago. This will provide much relief for lower-income consumers who spend a large proportion of their spending on food and fuel.
And the reason and the place where we will see this first is in retail activity and services. Consumers who have this greater disposable income when inflation is falling will naturally spend this money on goods and services, which translates into much stronger household consumption growth, which is a very big proportion of GDP growth for the fourth quarter of South Africa.
The city of Tshwane will write off more than 600 million rand in historical debt owed by Hammanskraal residents. Residents there have been relying on tankers for several years due to the poor quality of water flowing from their taps.
Remember, we had been disservice to the people of Hammanskraal. You know about the cholera outbreak. But in the process, the city was billing those residents. And then we have agreed or resolved as the MACO that we are going to write off those debts.
People in Thokoza, east of Johannesburg, have gathered outside a school to protest the return of a deputy principal found guilty of bullying a pupil because of their sexual orientation. The man was suspended for 2 months after 12-year-old Sibusiso Mbata committed suicide last year following the incident. An independent investigation by the Education Department found the deputy principal guilty of victimizing the young boy. Tombi Mbata, the mother of the 12-year-old, says the educator's return to the school is a threat to other pupils. Last year, Sibusiso wrote a letter to his family saying he had been bullied by the deputy principal at the school. Sunday's deadline to recode and update electricity meters will not be extended. Electricity Minister Josienzo Ramakgopa has described the deadline as a hard stop, and consumers who miss the cutoff will have to foot the bill for the upgrade. Ramakgopa says 2.1 million meters are yet to be migrated, placing their users at risk of not having access to electricity come Monday, while 6.9 million meters have been upgraded since the start of the campaign in August last year.
So if a customer meter has not been recoded to KRN2, which is a new generation now going into the future, just accept that your tokens will not be accepted and purchased. So essentially you are sitting with a situation where you just don't have access to electricity. And for us to be able to ensure that you have electricity going into the future, now it's a long queue. Because now it's not the remotely recoding. As you buy, we recode remotely and then you punch the numbers. The meter must physically be removed. It takes time. And of course, there's a cost, and that cost will be borne by the consumer. So if a customer meter has not been recoded to KRN2...
a meter replacement could cost up to 12,000 rand. Jail time looms for South African bosses guilty of environmental crimes. Naren Singh, Deputy Minister, Department of Forestry, Fisheries and the Environment, has outlined plans that could see CEOs and municipal managers behind bars for environmental negligence. The idea is that stricter penalties may help in the fight against pollution and ecological neglect.
In some cases, we do get fines imposed, hefty fines. It's not doing enough to send a strong message out to these transgressors. We need to ensure that individuals who are responsible for neglect, whether they be CEOs of large companies involved in industrial waste getting into our water systems, or whether they are CEOs of municipalities, they need to also face prison time.
As Dragon Ball fans celebrate 40 years of the globally beloved Japanese manga, anime and video game franchise, Ultra South Africa 2025 will commemorate 10 years of dancing by returning to Mzansi in May and with a very favourable price tag. Tickets will cost what they did back in 2014. The music event will be held at the Ostrich in Cape Town on Friday and Expo Centre at Nasrec in Johannesburg on the Saturday, May the 10th. With more than 500,000 attendees at its Johannesburg and Cape Town events since its inception, Ultra South Africa is Africa's largest electronic music festival. And you can go to our website to see where to register your spaza shop within the 21-day deadline.
Eyewitness News, in touch, in tune, and independent. For the latest, log on to ewn.co.za or ewn.mobi.